Now my lipstick's gonna be all over this straw. Oh well. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as the Religious Hippie. If you haven't noticed, the caffeine has completely gone to my head, so I'm talking way faster than I usually do. But if you want to, you can follow me on any social media platform. Just type in the Religious Hippie and you will find me. So today, we're basically going to be discussing 5 things that I've learned this year. I'm going to slow down because I'm gonna run out of breath, and then this video is gonna take forever because I'm gonna mess up a ton. So today we're basically going to go over 5 things that I have learned through this year. These things consist of spiritual things, personal things, whatever you want to call it, growth, etc. So we are basically just going to touch on 5 things that I feel will benefit you guys to know. And if you guys, you know, have learned anything about yourself through this last year, please comment it below. I'd love to know what it is. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so number 1, the first thing I learned was more of a social thing. And I basically had to learn that I have to stop caring about what other people think. I already discussed in a previous video about how I struggled with being a people pleaser gosh, it's my whole life basically. And I think that just stems from being the youngest and maybe just, I don't know, a lot of kids these days have a lot of pressures put on them from social groups and peers and school, and so it doesn't really surprise me that I turned out as a people pleaser. However, I noticed that I would start putting my own health, mental health, physical health at risk for other people. Specifically, I wouldn't say anything if they upset me, or if they said something that upset me. I wouldn't really try to get involved because I didn't like conflict. But because of that, it would just escalate or get worse. And so I ended up in some pretty bad situations where I was just completely disrespected. And I never want to be put in that kind of situation ever again in a group of friends or in any situation, really. And so if you're not feeling respected in a friend group, if you're not feeling respected by an individual person who just, I don't know, maybe goes over your boundaries too much, maybe doesn't treat you properly, then please get out. Run the other way, please. And that can be from friendships, that could be just anything, okay? So that's something I had to learn. And I had to stop caring about what other people said and did, but I also had to care. And I had to care to the point where I would actually stand up for myself and say something. Unfortunately, in one of those groups, it was way too late. I couldn't say anything anymore. And anytime I really would, they would just pick on me even more. And so this year was just an experience, to say. But yeah, so now basically what I do is if I'm not up to going out with people, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to feel obligated to hang out with people if I'm not feeling mentally or physically at my best, because that's just not going to have a good time with them. I'm not going to have a good time. They're not going to have a good time. I'm probably going to be in a little bit of a grumpy mood. And so it's just not going to be a good time all around. And so I'd rather just stay home, rest, and take care of myself and hang out with them a different day when I'm more at my best. And then when it comes to friends and groups and things in general, you guys already know I'm very, very picky about who I let into my life. Well, that just got a little bit more tighter. I'm extremely picky now. So now if somebody asks me to hang out and I don't want to hang out, I say no. And I don't make up excuses. I don't owe them an excuse at all. And I tell them no, like I'm busy right now, or I don't really want to hang out, or hey, I just don't think we're just meant to be friends, etc. And I feel like a lot of people think that's mean to set those boundaries and be like, if you don't vibe with somebody, if you don't get along with somebody, don't be afraid to tell them. Like, okay, they might get upset, they might get offended, but then that saves you the energy of having to pretend to be this person's friend if you don't want to be their friend. And in a way, that's lying because you're lying to be their friend. I don't deal with that BS anymore. If I don't want to be your friend, I'm nice to you, of course. I'm always going to be kind to people. I'm not going to just be like, hey, you suck, get out of here. No, like that's just so rude. But I'm also not going to pretend or keep up a friendship that I don't feel is fruitful in my life and I don't feel fruitful in their life. That's expected, and you should still be friendly towards people, But if somebody wants to hang out, say no if you don't want to hang out with them. If you feel uncomfortable around them, tell them like, hey, you make me feel uncomfortable. Like, just be honest with people these days. And people think honesty might get them shot. And it might. I don't know yet. Haven't tested that yet. But be honest with people. Intermission coffee break. Okay, the second thing I have learned this year. This year, I experienced desolation. I kind of talked about it a little bit in a TikTok, but that's just because somebody asked and I didn't really make a YouTube video about it. So for those who don't know, I have been struggling with desolation for quite a while now. It's hard. It's really hard. And for those who don't know what desolation is, it's basically feeling abandoned by God. If you guys want to read more into desolation, you guys can look up Mother Teresa. She experienced it for years. Literally, I think it was like 17 years. 17 years, I think that was. So look up some of her stuff. She talks about it all the time and how she got through it. And you never would have been able to tell that she was experiencing desolation. Like, it wasn't until, what was it, on her deathbed that she actually talked about it. So it's just crazy. It's so crazy. But I have felt really darkness, and with seasonal depression, it hasn't helped at all either. I've really been beefing up my vitamin D3K with K12, and I've been getting outside more, getting in nature, working out more, you know, anything I can do to boost my serotonin levels. But it's still kind of hard some days, and then add the desolation on top of that, and it's practically hell almost. I mean, it's not, obviously, so, but it can be pretty bad some days. And so something that I learned and that I've written down throughout my experience with desolation is I would go to adoration. I would force myself to go to mass anyways. I didn't feel like it. I was so drained spiritually and mentally. I felt like completely abandoned by my guardian angel, by God, etc. And yet I still had to make YouTube videos. I still had to make podcasts about my faith. I still had to do all of these things. And it made me feel like such a hypocrite for feeling this desolation and still trying to speak highly of the things that I do, even though I was basically halving them. Like, I wasn't doing them fully because I didn't feel like it. And I've talked in videos about how it doesn't matter how we feel, we should just do it. And through everything, I would always stick by that. Like, okay, I don't feel like praying, but I'm going to anyways. And it wasn't until the desolation hit where I was really just like, I don't really feel like it. So I'd get lazy. I'd start doing my prayers in bed instead of getting out and kneeling down and saying them. I stopped praying my daily rosary. I stopped going to my adoration 3 times a week. So some things that I learned is that during spiritual desolation, things that I need to do is I need to keep up with my prayer routines, no matter how badly I don't want to, because as soon as I started doing them a lot more and even pushing myself to do more, I felt a lot better. And so it's kind of like the mentality of working out. You don't want to work out at first, you feel a little horrible while working out, but then you get in the home stretch and you are used to working out, you're warmed up, you're pumping weights, and you feel great. And so it's the same mentality, honestly. It takes a little bit to get going, but once you do get going, it is so worth it and you feel so much lighter, and I felt so much better afterwards. So that's something I also learned about myself this year. I really need to stick to my prayer routines, my adoration routines, everything. The third thing I learned from this year was that I really enjoy homemaking. I actually really enjoy being feminine and flirtatious and having long hair and wearing lipstick and necklaces and earrings and dresses. But I also really love throwing on a good pair of jeans, a sweatshirt, and just chilling, just bumming out. And I think that's really good. I've been told this year that I have an unhealthy attachment to pants. Have you seen my closet? It's like 90% dresses. But I think it's really important for me to be able to have the option of dresses or pants. I originally was going to try Marion Modesty for a little while, but it just really did not fit my lifestyle, what I was doing. I ended up tripping over it a ton. There was a lot of things, and I think I actually talked about it last year. But I totally love Marion Modesty. I was never really set on a specific style for myself. I've always been a tomboy. I've always loved wearing jeans and t-shirts and ball caps and gym shoes and running around and climbing trees and doing all of that stuff. But now that I'm a little bit older and I've kind of grown into myself, I don't really know how to explain that either as a woman's perspective. It's like I've been grown into myself for like the last 4 years, but my personality, I've grown into my personality and I've really embraced that feminine side of myself and have grown out of that teenager side of myself where it's like tank tops and this and that. And so I really do enjoy wearing dresses. It's just not all the time. And honestly, people can think what they want. At the end of the day, I'm still going to wear what I feel glorifies God and what glorifies my body. And sometimes pants are more modest than some dresses, honestly. And some dresses are more modest than some skinny, tight, painted on pants. Like, it just depends. But I can dress for different situations how I feel would be necessary. And so for some situations, I might wear jeans. For others, I might wear dresses. But being able to really embrace that feminine side of myself this year has been really beneficial. I learned how to make bread. I've been baking again. I've been cooking again, something I haven't done in a very long time. And then starting like Catholic traditions that I want to carry into my marriage and like onto my own kids and things like that. I've really been implementing those into my life now. And so I've really been learning a lot about traditions, family traditions, femininity, how to teach my future daughters, if I have daughters, how to embrace their feminine side, but can still like go roughhouse with the boys. So trying to find that balance has been really tricky, but I finally think I found that balance. And so I'm really excited because I can wear jeans and I can cook, or I can wear a skirt and I can cook. But either way, it's like I have these feminine ways of making these outfits mine, making these desserts, and I sew too. I sew my own skirts. And things like that, that they have my own personal feminine touch into them, which make them unique. And I just love that. So finding my own personal, unique feminine touch, I would say, is probably the highlight of this year. The fourth thing I learned about myself this year is that I really like being involved in the pro-life mission. I got way more involved in the pro-life groups this year than I have in the past, and it's been really, really great. I remember when I first came back into my faith, I attended the March for Life in 2020, and that was wonderful. I went with some friends, met some great people, but then obviously 2021, they didn't have a March for Life. And so hopefully I'm going on the March for Life this year with my church. I'm so excited. I'm helping organize it and everything like that. So I'm very excited to hopefully film that. Hopefully I can film that for you guys and bring you along with us. But I have been so blessed to be able to be part of so many pro-life things this year. I was on Illinois' Right to Life podcast. I am a certified pregnancy sidewalk counselor. I went and stood outside the Aurora Planned Parenthood in protest of Pritzker. I've been praying rosaries with the pro-life leagues. It's just really been a beautiful experience to unite myself with these people who have either experienced abortion themselves or have seen the horrible, tragic things that have happened to the mothers and the horrible mental toll it takes on them. Nobody ever wants to talk about that. And so it's been really important to me that I am a voice for these young babies and their mothers, because who else is going to do it? Nobody's going to help these people, and pregnancy centers aren't really talked about often unless you're in the pro-life group. So it's so important to me that I am able to help these people, whether it's through prayer or actually being able to do something. And so if you guys don't follow Savannah Dudzik, please do. You guys know her. She's been on my channel quite a bit. She has her own YouTube channel. She's on Instagram. She's just absolutely wonderful, and I love working with her, and I love seeing what she does. And so what she's doing is truly a blessing, and I always want to support her work. So please go show her some love. But yeah, I've really, really enjoyed being a part of the pro-life movement a lot more this year, and I hope to keep that going. Okay, last but not least, the fifth thing I learned about myself is that I am addicted to coffee. Just kidding. So the fifth thing that I was taught this year is that we really do need to be thankful to God in all moments of our life. Whether it's bad moments or good moments. Maybe it's just mediocre moments. I don't really have too many of those. I wish I did. Those would be pretty chill. But whether it's in good moments of in our lives, we need to thank God. And if it's in bad moments, we need to rely on God and still give him thanksgiving. Because at the end of the day, he knows what is best and he will take care of us and our loved ones. And so when it comes to this year and everything that I've seen go on, it's just, sometimes it can be really hard. It can be really hard. I know a lot of people struggle to give God that thanksgiving because, if I'm being honest, they blame him for a lot of things that are actually our fault as humans in this fallen world. It's sad, but I pray for those people. And sometimes I'm one of them. I'm not mad at God, but sometimes I am frustrated because I don't understand him. And so the frustration sometimes I feel takes hold of me, and there's nothing I can do but sit in adoration and just stare at God and be like, why? Why? And I'm sure that's kind of creepy. Sure, that's creepy to him. He's just like, why are you staring at me, kid? But he loves me, so it's okay. But yeah, and so it can be really difficult, but to make it a habit to give God thanksgiving in all areas of our life is really important. I know when my anxiety would work up, something I would do is I would start on this long list of God's, like thanking God for things. God, thank you for my house, my family, my dog, my cats. And I would just go on this long list until I've calmed down, and it really works. It does. And so I highly suggest, if you guys are struggling with that, to start a Thanksgiving journal, a thankful journal, I don't know, journal, yeah, Thanksgiving journal. And basically it's just a journal, and every single day you just write down as many things as you can think of that you want to thank God for. And with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!